Jello wrestlers on the start stand. The '84 One Lap of America grew out of the Cannonball, and Brock had decided that instead of running an outlaw event across the country with the liability issues and the fact that maybe somebody could actually get hurt, decided to make it legal and just make it an adventure to go across America and see the USA and take your time. You didn't have to speed. You could do it at 55 miles an hour if you wanted to. Some guys opted out not to. They just treated it like it was a cannonball. We decided to select, look, we got a big Chevy van. How fast are you going to go? Maybe it would top out at 80, 85, so it wasn't worth it. Plus, it would kill the gas mileage. So we decided, to do it that way. And it was just a big old ugly brown Chevy van. In about 12 hours, we put this thing together. We had all these accessories that Oscar had that we had to put on, like the side step to get up in and in. He had a pair of chrome side pipes coming out to make it look like it was a real Vette with the side pipes underneath of it. And, and plus it had the Corvette nose on the front, which was just outrageous. It was a frantic build, but we got it together. We get it up to Darien. We go through the inspection, which was like, yeah, okay, you got a car. So, yeah, you just show them insurance and, your licenses and you're good to go. Doing the setup was fine, but then the parking lot got more and more crowded with more and more people coming in. There was, a high school band playing. There was the lady Jello wrestlers on the start stand. It had become this huge sideshow. And one of the things about being around Oscar Kowaleski, he has this energy that just comes from it's like ungodly. It just never gets tired. He keeps on going and he keeps on talking. And the problem is you pick up on that energy. And finally you start running around like you're all wired on caffeine or whatever. And we finally get out of the parking lot. And I was just so glad to be away from the crowd and Oscar that we were able to calm down and just get on with driving. And the rules were basically, you leave Darien, Connecticut, you go up to Logan Airport in Boston, hit a timestamp, turn left, we go to Ann Arbor, Michigan, which was the headquarters for Car and Driver at the time. Just sat there, had a little coffee, everybody looked at the different cars. Took off to Seattle SeaTac Airport, going all the way across the northern tier there. And finally, I think it was day 3 or so, we stopped at a truck stop and took a shower, which was amazing. Go to SeaTac, get that done, head back down south. And with this fuel cell, we had a huge range of about 800 miles between stops. We're driving along, and this is all nonstop. It was 8,800 miles in 8 days of driving, going through the desert and everything else. And the 3 of us would rotate, no problems. We get to just past El Paso, and it's probably 2 a.m. And we get out to past the point where you can't even get AM radio. There is nothing out there, and it's pitch black. And we're all starting to fall asleep. We get one of the guys in to drive for the first time, and it's his first shift at night. He starts going along, and I'm in the back trying to sleep. And then once in a while I hear a I'm going like, what? Because he's driving around, and he goes, well, I can't drive at night. I have astigmatism. Now you tell us? We're 3/4 of the way across the country, and it's like, okay, fine. So the other guy and I are sitting up front, and we're both falling asleep simultaneously. So I would go for about 10 minutes and snap out, and I go, okay, you're on. And he'd go for 10 minutes. And we just kept tag teaming all the way across because the other guy couldn't drive. We get into Houston, and it's like the first week in April, and it's close to 100 degrees already in Houston. And we've got the windows down and the whole deal. And all of a sudden we see the smoke coming out from the fuel cell. And we're like, oh my God. And one of the guys goes, it's a fire. So I pull off to the shoulder And I grabbed the fire extinguisher to open up the back door so I can, hit it with the extinguisher. And they're both in the van and they're yelling at me, get in, get in. So I come around the side, and of course I get to the back door and the back door is locked. So I can't get in there to fight it anyway. So they take it, and basically it was just wires that got caught under one of the straps for the fuel cell, and it had chafed loose and was shorting out the fuel pump we had in there to pump the fuel into the other tank. And I got nothing but razzing for the rest of the trip on that one. You left us in here to burn, all that kind of stuff. So we get down to Miami. Some people stopped at Joe's Stone Crab because that was like the big thing at the time. And we're going like, no, we just want to go home. And so we get our thing in Miami. Now the next stop is to drive back up to Connecticut. And it was just all interstate the whole way. Out of the corner of my eye, I see one of the competitors who was driving another van. It was Parnelli Jones, Walker Evans, and Jean, at the time, Linda Mood, which is now Jean Jennings. She was a writer for Car and Driver, and then she became the editor at Automobile Magazine and whatever. And she was just a real fun person to be around, good old gal. Look, and I see Parnelli is driving, and I'm driving, just keeping my lane, and he comes inching over. And he comes right up, and I have the window down, and we just start talking, and I'm looking, and our mirrors are about 3 inches apart. And we're driving like that for like 10 miles. And we're just talking, we're passing things back and forth through the windows, and we're having a good time. And then finally he strikes me, and I'm going like, my God, Parnelli Jones trusts me so much that he will drive that close to me. I'm going like, this is the biggest compliment of my life, to have that kind of trust from him. Eventually we break up the little thing because some traffic starts to appear. I was planning on going up through 95. The route was supposed to go up the Jersey Turnpike across the Delaware Memorial Bridge. They almost made the wrong turn, so I point them in the right direction, and we go off in the wrong direction because we had figured out that we were under our mileage. The whole point of the event was you had to be at certain places at a certain time within a minute of your start position at the finish. So you had a minute on either side as the window, and you had to have the one with the closest mileage would win, but we didn't know what the mileage was. So we had to guess how much our tires, which were a little taller than the normal ones, were throwing off the odometer, how accurate the odometer was. And we also had to factor in that every time you're driving on the interstate, you change lanes once. That adds 1/10 of a mile. And another problem was with the fuel cell, we weren't stopping as much. We weren't pulling off to find gas and come back, which is what Brock had done. So that's what he based his official mileage on, was his total. And we're just trying to figure it all out. And I'm going like, well, we're under miles and this is a longer route. So we can make up some miles, and it's Sunday morning. There's no traffic through Philly. And we're going on up, and we get up to New Jersey, Route 1, and it's stopped. It's traffic lights. I'm going like, oh, great. What a break. Just something a little different. And then we eventually hop back on the turnpike, and we head up to Connecticut. We're waiting for our window to come in. We had to be the 10th one to cross the line. And I'm sitting in the parking lot. We're watching the clock, and the clock we had was really accurate. And we figured our miles out, we guessed. And we pulled in. As we're about to pull in, one of the guys, Bob Sinclair, who was the president of Saab at the time and had 5 cars entered in the event, goes by. But I look, and he's 3 minutes past his window. And I'm going like, okay, he's done because, it's not right. And according to my clock, he was really late. So we get up, and I get up to the finish line, and I'm within a second of our time. Good, we nailed it. And we get out and wait around for other people to come in, and they start running preliminary numbers, and you had to turn in your mileage, and you had to, with the correction factor and all this kind of stuff. Brock says, you're in 10th place. Okay, we screwed up a little on the mileage. I think we were off by 20 miles. So, this is 8,800 miles to be off by 20. We're going like, okay, 10th is fine, and they were giving out awards to like 10th place, which was a brand new Escort radar detector. We go to bed, we wake up, and we come back in the next morning. They're having their little presentation and their breakfast kind of thing. And Brock says, he pulls me over and he goes, you guys finished in 11th. I'm going, what? He goes, well, Bob Sinclair came in and he got 10th. wait a minute, he was late. I was on time according to my clock, which was accurate. And he goes, well, you know, he had 5 cars in the event. And I'm going like, oh, man. But he says, you can still keep the radar detector because he's already got one. Thanks. You know? So we go through all of that and get over the disappointment. But being, you know, PRDA, we had played it up that, you know, I said, we thought it was the pace lap because we started 10th and we finished 10th. We didn't know the event had actually started. We had fun. I mean, you know, it was tough. It was a grind. It lacked the rebelliousness and the danger of the Cannonball, but it was more of a camaraderie kind of thing. At least I could say I did it, and finally had made it across country, which is something I had always wanted to do.
Hi, I'm Ed from VINwiki, and for the past 15 years I've trusted the experts at Butler Tire to put Michelin tires on all my cars. I love Michelin products because the performance is obviously unmatched, and every time you get in your car you can predict that it's going to do exactly what you want it to do. And one thing I love about coming to Butler is that they've always got the full range in stock, and every time I drop my car here, I wait a few minutes and I'm on the road. So that's why I come to Butler for all my Michelin tires. I get the best result, the best customer service, and you should too.